Hello and welcome to this course. If you are here, it is because the idea of transformation was something that intrigued you. It was something that was interesting. And so to start, I actually want to talk about the power of transformation in one gesture. First, by contrasting it with what I probably would do if you were sitting here in front of me. If there's a group of you, or if it was just you individually, I would probably reach out and I'd probably shake your hand. Okay, the handshake has been around for a very, very long time. And business deals begin and end with handshakes. Relationships begin and end with handshakes. It's typically, we don't even think about it. We reach out, grab somebody's hand when we introduce ourselves. And so I want to introduce myself to you. My name's Chris. But the handshake, when you think about it, it doesn't have a whole lot of depth to it. It's been around for a long time, but to me, it's a transaction. That's all it is a transaction. And sure, it might lead to deeper things, but in and of itself, the handshake is transactional. And one of the greatest sort of pieces of evidence that it's a transaction is just a few short years ago, during the pandemic, the handshake became extinct. And obviously for good reason. I wasn't shaking people's hands back at that time, but something like a pandemic completely wiped the handshake out. Now people are shaking hands again, but it's totally changed. I can't tell you how many times I would normally shake someone's hand, but now I'm just giving them the knuckles. Because the handshake's transactional. It's not a big deal to stop it, right? Transactions they come and go. Transformation remains. Transformation it's consistent, it's deep. And so a little bit more about myself. My father comes from the Philippines, and my ancestry comes all over Polynesia. And in the islands, when they greet each other, it looks very different. It looks like this. This particular gesture, this image, comes from my brothers and sisters in New Zealand, the Maoris. And this gesture is called the hongi. In Hawaii, it's called the hani. In the Philippines, where my father's from, it's called the ongno. And essentially what this is it sharing the same breath. You place your foreheads, your noses with another, and you take a deep, intentional breath. Now, for most of our Western culture, if I were to greet you for the first time, this would be uncomfortable. It wouldn't be something you're used to. But every time that I see my family, my friends that share this culture with me, this is exactly how we greet. Now, going back to the handshake, this is a transaction. This is a transformational gesture. And let me explain why I believe that to be true. The first is that it's lasted for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the meaning behind this gesture is the same meaning that it was for my ancestors. It means the same thing to me today as it did for them. The meaning hasn't changed. And not only that, but there's no pandemic. There's nothing that could happen that would wipe this out or stop this from happening. This will always be something that's very important to the people in these cultures. It's important to my family. It's important to me. And it means something. It's so deep. And that's how transformation works. It's hard to describe. It's hard to define, but you feel it. You know it when it's there. Now this particular gesture, the hongi, the hani, ongno, whatever you call it, whatever region you're from, it's the same sort of gesture, but the meaning behind it, like I mentioned, is we share the same breath. It's the breath of life. We take this deep, intentional breath with one another. Something else that's really important to my ancestors and to me is this term of mana. Now, mana has been a term, again, that's lasted many, many years, withstood the test of time. And essentially, mana is the spiritual human energy that resides within us, but it's also within the land, the water, the sky, the birds, the animals, everywhere. And mana is everything. And mana brings power. Mana brings history. Mana brings meaning. Now, in our sort of modern Western society, we might call this human energy. Okay? But to me, I think of mana. And when I see a group of people, and I wish that all of you were here with me, if I were to see you and be with you, I would ask you to close your eyes just for a second. And you could close your eyes right now and just feel the mana around you. Just feel the energy. Next time you're with a group of people, a team or your family, and things are exciting and you're motivated, you can feel the mana in the room. It's palpable. And that's how mana works. And particularly in the Philippines, the term pamana is an iteration of this. It means the same things that I've already mentioned, but pamana in a direct translation actually means lineage or legacy. And that adds to who we are. So I want to take a moment right now to not only do the hangi with you, to share the breath with you metaphorically, that you can feel that I'm going to do the best that I can to make this a transformational experience for you, to really see you and connect with you, even though you're looking at me on a screen. That's my commitment to you. My second commitment is I want to honor your legacy, your lineage, where you come from, wherever it is that you come from, whatever your family looked like or comes from, whatever your organization is like, your community, that all of that, good and the bad, contributes to the mana and the energy that we can create to go out and make a difference. And so I hope that you can feel my acknowledgement of you, of where you come from, of your lineage, of your legacy. And I hope that together, as we learn this, and you learn this content, that you can go out and begin paving a way for a very transformational legacy that you can leave behind. And that's my intent as we get through this content.